An advocate for inclusion, a teacher, and a friend. Those are the words being used to describe the Honorable David Onley, who passed away yesterday at the age of 72. Now, Onley spent much of his time here at Queen's Park, serving as the province's 28th Lieutenant Governor. David C. Onley served as the Lieutenant Governor of Ontario from 2007 to 2014. He was the first person with a physical disability to hold the post. The Lieutenant Governor's office announcing his passing in a statement saying in part, Mr. Onley believes so deeply in the goodwill and firm practicality of Ontarians that he saw no reason why we could not lead the world in transforming society so that everyone is able to contribute something of value. And there is no doubt that his legacy has positively impacted the lives of people across Ontario. Before his time in government, Onley spent 2 decades here at City TV.
Now, David Onley says it's become an election issue.
And Gord, it's all over remarks attributed to Mike Harris.
He first joined the news team as a weather specialist in 1984, before becoming the first morning anchor of breakfast television in '89. He later became City TV's education specialist and then science and technology specialist, also making history as the first newscaster in Canada with a visible disability.
Very sad at the loss of a colleague and companion and comrade in arms in our campaign for accessibility.
David Lepofsky first met Onley when he was interviewed by him for a story on the Ontario election in 1995.
With the government making up the difference.
David Lepofsky of the Ontarians with Disabilities Act Committee.
That meeting sparked what would be a 28-year-long friendship.
What's powerful is that the things that we talked about, that we each talked about, him as a reporter covering the story, me as a community advocate learning how to do this, were themes that would pervade the next 28 years in my community role, in his role going on to be Lieutenant Governor.
Onley was well known and respected for his work advocating for accessibility for people with disabilities. His most noteworthy work came in March 2019, when he completed an independent review of Ontario's accessibility law, the first of its kind tabled in Canada.
He always knew we faced a lot of barriers, but he came to realize that it was time to toughen up the language, and it was also time to see that this full solution is mandatory, effectively enforced legislation.
Following Onley's term as Lieutenant Governor, he worked as a professor at the Department of Political Science at the University of Toronto, Scarborough.
He was caring, right? He went above and beyond for his students, 100%.
Those he taught say he took time to get to know his students, leaving a lasting impact by sharing his knowledge and advice.
I'd always, over coffee, I'd, run by my career aspirations, to go into provincial politics and then later law school. And he'd always tell me, listen, it's going to be tough. The journey's going to be tough, but always keep on doing it.
Last fall, Onley sat down with our Cynthia Mulligan for the 50th anniversary of City TV, his final appearance on our program, looking back at the incredible impact he had, breaking barriers and being a voice for those who at times may be overlooked.
The thought at the time wasn't that I was the first, that it was more that I was just glad to have this job. And then, you've seen this happen before. Then what happened was, as I was starting to go around with, on the weekends and things like that, people would say hi, disabled people would. And then it hit me, the impact.
Onley leaves behind his wife, Ruth Ann, and 3 children, Jonathan, Robert, and Michael. Melissa Nakhavoly, City News.